Here are 5 do's and don'ts I learned over the last couple of 10 years collecting watches. Watch collecting, being a watch enthusiast and watch lover, is probably one of the most satisfying and probably also challenging hobbies I have had ever. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy it because the people I meet are usually also very into watches, and it's a very, very, very deep hole that you can fall into. And over the past couple of years, I've learned 1 or 2 things, and I've made a couple of mistakes. For you not to make the same mistakes I have, I want to share 5 things that I have learned over the last couple of years collecting watches. Tip number 1, don't buy the hype. Don't do it. Just don't buy the hype. You will regret it in the end. I've made the mistake a couple of times. I bought a Royal Oak because I thought I needed a Royal Oak. I never wore it. I spent a lot of money on a vintage Royal Oak, and what happened, if you go back on the videos that I've done, and one of the first ones actually that I did is me talking about having my watch repaired. I had to service this watch twice because after buying it, something in the movement broke and it just stopped working. And this cost me a lot of time not having watch and more money. That was my mistake on buying hype watches. And you see these watches getting hyped up on social media every single day. They're usually always the same brands that are being hyped up. It's Rolex, it's Patek Philippe, it's also Audemars Piguet, and Cartier has become very popular in my feed. Well, I'm going to fall into that trap again, just because I'm not learning out of my mistakes. But you can, and that's it. Don't buy hype. Tip number 2 is do your research. That's an easy thing to say, but it's actually quite simple. If you like a particular watch, go on the internet, Google. If you like YouTube, you can watch my reviews of certain watches here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe as well. Please find every information on particular watches that you're currently interested in, either here on YouTube, on the internet, via Google, for example, the website of the respected brand. A lot of the brands already have an archive of their watches, so you can type in certain reference numbers and find more information on them. I did, for example, with the Tag Heuer Formula 1 video that I did a couple of months ago, I think. And Tag Heuer has a great archive where you can read all the history stories about the particular pieces, when they were introduced and why they were introduced, and so on and so on. But there's also one more thing to do. You can talk to watch collectors. You can send me a DM on Instagram, for example, and ask me a question on a particular piece. You can send my friend Burak, aka the Wrist Guy. I have a link to his channel down below. You can also send him a message. And there are many other collectors that you can send messages to because they're very helpful and friendly. Do your research. Is tip number 2. Tip number 3 is also quite an important one and ties into 1 and 2. Basically, have patience. I'm not the one to talk to. I either have 0 patience or way too much patience when it comes to buying watches. And that is a problem. And as I mentioned, my friend Burak, he has 0 patience too. He buys what he likes. And if it comes up, if he likes it, he's going to buy it. And I like that about him because he's quick. He can experience these watches. And if he doesn't like it anymore, well, then he'll exchange it for something else. And that's also something you should do. Have patience. Figure out if you really like the watch that you're currently looking into. Tip number 4 is don't be afraid to sell a watch. I made this mistake. I was afraid that I could not sell a watch. But let's be honest, you might like one of your watches for a couple of years. You'd like to wear it. But then there's something new that comes in and you wear that. Honestly speaking, we have 2 wrists, but who's double wristing? Anyway, you're not going to wear every watch for the same amount of time. We have to be realistic here. If you fall out of love with a particular piece, if your taste changes, and it will experience this multiple times, my tastes have changed, then you shouldn't be afraid to sell particular watch. I was afraid to sell it. Firstly, I wasn't sure if I could ever get the watch back. Secondly, I'm a bit of the emotional kind of person. I have some emotional ties with my watches, and therefore I have difficulty selling them. But we have a set budget. I have a set budget that I can use buy watches. And if I want to buy a watch that exceeds this budget, I need to sell something to fund a new piece. And that's totally okay. We do the same things with our clothes, sneakers. I mean, we change our iPhone nearly every year. So come on, it's okay to sell. Don't flip. Don't be that type of guy. I mean, we've experienced this a lot, and there are less watches out there to be actually flipped, because that's not a nice thing to do. If you don't like the watch and you're not going to wear it, and you know you're not going to wear it, well, then don't buy it. And watches are here to be worn and not just to be put somewhere and not see the sky, the light of day. Number 5, it is probably the most important one, and it ties into with basically everything I said before, is set a budget. We don't have an excess of money. Some people do, but it's good to set a budget, because then you know what you can afford, what you're willing to spend, and what you can put in watches. You will enjoy the watches more, in my experience at least, than always having to think about how much money you spent on a particular piece and are afraid to actually wear it because you might scratch it, something might happen to it, and so on and so on. And then you might have to service it, or you might have to sell it, and it diminishes the value. These things happen. Watches are going to get scratches. They are going to have stress marks. They are going to have service, but that's the fun in that. And if you set a budget, a realistic budget you can cope with, then you will enjoy your watches more than you think. Here's the last bonus tip. Don't settle for an alternative. And that's a hard one to say, because I just said you have to set a budget. But if there is a piece out there that you really love, you've tried it on multiple times, but you just don't have the money for it yet, but you want to buy a watch now, and then you're prone to pick up a piece that looks similar or does the same thing or similar thing, and at some point you're going to reach this threshold where you're saying to yourself, I should have bought the other watch, should have waited and saved up for longer and bought the other one, because I don't like this watch that I bought instead, and now I need to have to sell it. I might not get what I paid for, and so on and so on. Don't settle for an alternative. Wait, have patience, save up the money, even if it might take some more time. If it's super unrealistic that you're gonna get that piece, well then honestly, look somewhere else. Tastes change. That's a couple of things I've learned over the past more than 10 years collecting watches or being in the watch industry myself. I've made a couple of mistakes, and I still make a lot of mistakes doing so. I still sometimes wait way too long when I want to buy a watch. And I forgot one more tip, one very, very important tip: change your watch strap. If you've been wearing a watch every day over the past, I don't know, year, and it has a leather strap on it or something similar, not rubber and not a bracelet, but do have them checked too, and do clean them from time to time, do yourself and me the favor, buy a new watch strap. It's not that expensive. These things hold the watch on your wrist, and if they are done, then the watch might fall off your wrists. They are also a biohazard if you've never cleaned them before. Keep that in mind. This is the bonus tip. I'll have a link down below to our watch straps if you want to check out a cool watch strap, so please do so. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to check out 2 other videos, then well, here are 2 for you to check out. Please don't forget to subscribe, and we will see each other in the next episode. Thank you, and bye-bye.